Hey there guys, my name is Jordan and you're probably thinking, what the hell is this van and where the hell have I been? So let me give you all a bit of an update on what's been happening. It's been just over a year since I released that first video of my van conversion, and it's just been insane the response that that video has received. It's on, at the moment, it's just past 5 million views. So thank you so much everyone for checking out that video and for subscribing to the channel when there was only one video on it. So this video is going to be a bit of an update, and also I'm going to do that Q&A that I promised at the end of the last video that I would do. So just over a year later, getting around to the Q&A, but first a bit of an update. So the reason I only posted that one video and haven't done any since is because this year's been pretty crazy. To make a long story short, I lived in the van for a few months. I've moved country. I'm in New Zealand now, and this is where I live with my partner in the South Island. And so moving here meant that I had to sell the van, which I ended up naming Wanda. Someone on Instagram recommended that name and I thought it was pretty good. So had to sell Wanda, unfortunately, which was really sad, but it went to a guy who's going to really make the most of it and I think will take awesome care of it. So had to sell that van, and then we've bought this van, which is just kind of a temporary one while we save up for something bigger. So there's going to be more videos coming when we get that van, and we're going to film the whole conversion process, which I'm super excited about. And so my partner and I run a documentary channel on YouTube, and this last year we've been working pretty hard on a half-hour film that's taken up a lot of our lives. And that film's called Fools and Dreamers, and you can watch that for free. I'll have a link below. And so that film has taken up a lot of time, which meant that I haven't had time to make van-related videos. In addition to buying a new van soon, I'm going to start shooting a new series of van tours. So I'm going back to Australia for a month in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm going to be shooting a bunch of van tours with other people who are living the van life and going to be touring their vans and hearing their story and talking to them and making short videos out of that, because I loved showing off my van and I love seeing the designs of other people's vans to get ideas and hearing their stories about why they're living this lifestyle. So that's going to be a short series that I'm going to be uploading to this channel soon. Alright, so that's enough life update stuff. Let's get into some questions. Gone through the comments and selected a bunch of questions that people have asked. There's a lot of comments, there's like 6,500, so thank you to everyone who left a comment and checked out that tour. Okay, so by far the most asked question, which was like 95% of the comments, was, where is your toilet? Where's your bathroom? Where do you shit? That was a lot of the comments. So my answer to that is, when I was living in the van, I would just use public bathrooms, and when I would pull up to a campsite, I always made sure that I was going to one that had public toilets. So I hope that answers about 6,000 of those comments. So the second question is, how do you get internet, or how do you convert the solar power into internet? This was another big question of how do I get Wi-Fi in the van. So what I had was a little mobile broadband Wi-Fi hotspot, which gave me 4G internet, and it was super fast. It was awesome. It wasn't as cheap as like a home connection, but it was really fast, and I think I got 60 gigs a month, which I kind of had to watch, that I wasn't watching too much Netflix because that would easily blow through that. Live in a real fucking home, not this piece of shit. Thanks. Jordan, how I got in this car? Yes. Thank you for your question. Could you please explain about the roof? Thanks. So that pop-top part of the roof was already done when I bought the van. I imagine it was done years and years ago, and you can find companies that do install those into just like any van that doesn't have one, but it does cost quite a bit. It's probably, a few $1,000s at least to have one of those installed, because you've got to buy the thing and then the labor to install it's quite intensive. So if you can find one that's already got one in it, you'll save a lot of money. You're 2 meters tall. Almost. I think I'm like 6'6", or like 195 centimeters or something like that last time I checked. How do you wash your dirty cloths? I assume he means clothes. For my laundry, I just use laundromats, paid a few bucks each time and wash my clothes that way, and my cloths. How do you register your location? So for like ordering stuff online or receiving letters, I would, or if I had to put an address on like, you know, a form for voting or registering my car or something like that, I'll just put my parents' address and some stuff will get sent there. And you know, if it was urgent and I needed to look at it, I could get them to send it to wherever I was at that time. So I could get them, you know, send it to the post office in this town and I could go in and pick that up. Same for ordering stuff online. I could just get it sent to the post office and they hold it until I go up and collect it. See you all in the next video. Hasn't got a next video. Ha! Do now, Michelle. Where do you wash yourself? Generally all over my body. So when are we cooking? Most meals. What about the weight of the van? That's a good question because adding a bunch of stuff in the van obviously adds weight to it, and especially when you're using timber like I did pretty much the whole thing in timber. So I did use pine, which is a light timber, but it does add a decent amount of weight. And I think I was probably at the limit of how much I did want to add, especially with factoring in 2 deep cycle batteries, water storage. You know, you do get up there of adding, you know, a few hundred kilos of weight to the van. This dude's the kind of guy not to own a suit. You're right. Says he doesn't like drinking out of plastic, but has a plastic tube running into the glass water jar. A few people commented on this, me saying that I like to not drink out of plastic if possible, but I had the plastic food grade hose running into the water. And I did that because you can't get a glass pipe or a stainless steel one, not that I could find. So it was like minimal use of plastic and it was kind of the only option for that. But it was food grade and I did message the manufacturer making sure that sitting it in there like that was safe to do. A few major things missing for me. Even though you have a PC, I'd have to have my plasma on the wall and my PS4, some sort of shower, and of course an unlimited supply of weed if I'm staying in a van on my own. Lol, would be pretty sick though. That does sound pretty sick. What are all the vapor barriers for? So the vapor barriers are for protecting the insulation against moisture and the body of the van against moisture, because when you have a warm, kind of humid inside of the van and you've got the cold outside, moisture will travel to the cold part and condense on the body of the van and you'll get moisture here. And so that will cause rust, but it will also get into the insulation and make it moldy. This is really awesome, but why would you want to live in such a small space? Also, what kind of work do you do? For me, it was a pretty small space and I was comfortable, but if I could have afforded a bigger van, then I would have bought one. But it was fine. It was great for what I needed at the time. And it's not for everyone, of course. Some people obviously will need a bigger space, but for me it was great. And for work, I mentioned a bit in the beginning, I'm a documentary filmmaker. My partner and I run Happen Films and we make documentaries about sustainable living. You can check out our channel on YouTube, I'll put a link below. And so that work meant I was able to work wherever. So I could work in the van. I'm not tied to a specific location because all the work is online. I can kind of go wherever. It's really cool seeing people in the comments find inspiration from the build and say that they want to do the same thing one day. And if you're thinking about doing something similar, I would say absolutely go for it. Like, you don't need a lot of money or a lot of skills to be able to do it. You can just, you know, do something basic and learn as you go, which is what I did. I'm not a builder. I don't have a lot of building skills. I've just done bits and pieces here and there over my life and spent a lot of time on YouTube and Google looking up how to do things, which is a good way to learn, I find. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the van tour series, which will start coming out soon. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter to follow along with the trip that I'm about to do in Australia and the behind the scenes of filming that series. And also eventually when my partner and I buy our Sprinter or Transit or whatever van it ends up being, there'll be that series to look forward to as well. I can't wait to convert a big van like that and share that experience with you all. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you all in the next video.